decades of professional photography with you, Radhakrishnan, from the time you left Kochi and came to Mumbai,
Little
and
more than that.
a little
Yes.
more than that. Yeah, a little more than that. Yeah, 20
A
plus.
decade more than that. It's about 32
Oh,
years now.
30.
Yeah,
30, yeah. Okay. Great,
32
great.
years.
But
I
I
mean, the
remember,
website data is a little,
yeah, I'm going by the
probably not.
website.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going by the biography written by your friend in C.
Yeah.
Radha.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
He's written
Yes.
so well, so
Yeah,
nice.
he's written so well.
His
Thank you.
language is so lucid with
Absolutely.
humor and all that. Yeah.
He
But
is.
it's so vivid that your early days in Mumbai, where
Yes.
you were
Yeah.
a junior account executive with Nucleus.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, the
Absolutely.
way children can learn so much from you, the hardships that you have taken just to pursue your passion, and
Absolutely.
then finally you made it. Now
Yes.
today, Kalpana, Radhakrishnan is a very sought after photographer, because I'll tell you one index is that all these camera companies and photography gear companies, they are after him to launch their products through his channels, YouTube and websites, because he's an influencer in this domain.
He's a true ambassador.
Yeah. True,
Thank you.
true, true. Correct. And I remember I wanted to quote this line. Your friend
Okay.
said that you always been looking through the top of your camera.
Seems to be a network issue
Yeah, no.
there.
Mr. Bhaskar Chakravarti is a stuck up man today. He's stuck. Okay, so I'll just fill in like while he's this thing. Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
and I mean, the things that he's been saying, it's quite overwhelming. Like, okay, children, you've been listening to Bhaskar and I talk about, Radhakrishna and one little bit of advice for you: please stop fidgeting around, don't move your yeah, I was going to say cameras, but yeah, don't move your phones, just fix it
Fonts.
in one place, all right, and pay attention, otherwise it's very distracting for everyone else. Okay, so here you are, Bhaskar, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. That the other day I attended one of his launch. Uh, I am not very familiar with all these. Some Moza gimbal or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
He
that's
was
right.
launching. It was a
That's right.
live launch. Live
That's
launch.
right.
Oh my, fantastic! He has international audience. So many people from different countries were attending his launch.
Hmm.
So that
Thank
was
you.
fantastic. And you must, children must, the student must visit his website, cradha.com, and Pixel Village, which is actually a photography learning portal where
Oh
you
wow.
can learn so much. Yeah. So I thought we must share this knowledge with
Please.
our students, because some of them are
Sure.
really very interested in photography.
Right.
Oh,
So
yes. Okay.
today students, we have a celebrity with us, Radhakrishnan Anna, and he's from Pune. He's based in Pune. Actually, originally he's from Kochi, because I've heard him speaking Malayalam. Oh, so nice to listen to you
Thank
in
you.
Malayalam. Although I don't understand the language, but you you okay. By the way, children, he is an accidental actor that you'll have to explain, okay, later on. What do you mean by accidental actor? But your voice says it all. Your
Thank
appearance
you.
says it all. Okay,
Thank you.
so rest, Radhakrishnan Anna will talk. But before that, I want Kalpana to introduce Parikrma to Radhakrishnan.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that fantastic
Radhakrishnan. Okay.
introduction.
One thing is now we are an NGO with 4 schools and one junior college. That's grade 11 and 12. All our children have come in at the age of 5, and they leave Parikrma when they're around 16, 17 after they finish grade 12. And then the
Okay.
support continues till they are, standing on their feet. They complete their education. Parikrma is 19 years old now, and the founder is Shukla Bose. Okay,
Yes.
she
Yeah.
also is Bhaskar's sister. very
Wow.
inspiring woman, very, very
Oh.
inspiring woman who's inspired all of us, to make our lives better. We're not making other people's lives better. We're not doing things for anybody else. We're doing it because we feel the joy every time we do something, right? And we are glad you've joined us. So
Thank
today
you.
we have a mix of all the 4 centers and the students of the junior college, all children interested in photography. I must tell
Wonderful.
you, while I always say, we may not have the money. As Parikrma, as the Parikrma community, we don't have the money to do things, but our minds are open.
Yeah.
Open like an umbrella to see what else is there I can celebrate life with. Okay, so I listen to people, I listen to well-established people like you who have come over here, and somewhere something might strike a chord somewhere. You don't know who will follow in your
Absolutely.
footsteps, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
So over to you, and we enjoy all these, extracurricular. We don't call it extracurricular. We call it life learning,
Absolutely. It is. Photography is all about that.
right? So go. I'm very excited about it.
Hey, thank
And
you
we're all
very much.
waiting for it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bhaskar sir, thank you very much for that fantastic introduction. I don't know how much of that I really deserve, but thank you very much. And Kalpana ji, thank you very much. And I, in fact, went through the TEDx speech of your founder, and I actually had tears in my eyes when I actually heard some of the children speaking. So, but at no place. What was most interesting? At no place, children coming from that kind of backdrop tends to have a certain sense of helplessness in their mind. Usually, when they face a camera, go to a place like IIM, but in I'm sorry, I choke sometimes when I speak.
We do that all the time, so please don't feel embarrassed. We are weeping willows.
Yeah, so I found courage. I found that it's possible, possibilities in their eyes. So they're no longer the scared or the so-called underprivileged kind of children. They were like proud and happy and probably well equipped than many of the so-called privileged children to take up the world. So it's absolutely, I mean, I don't know, no words. I mean, this is life. So first of all, I feel myself extremely happy and also probably fortunate also to be speaking to these children who are interested. I can see about 60 plus children here listening to us. I will not call them children. They're boys and girls. I mean, right? They're all here. And I want to thank them for joining this session, in fact. So boys and girls, are you ready? I mean, what I'm going to do, I'm a photographer, okay? My name is Radhakrishnan. You can call me whatever that you are comfortable with. Photographer uncle, Radha Anna, Radha sir, whatever that you want to call, you can.
We address everyone as either Anna or Akka only. There's no madam, sir,
Wonderful.
teacher, nothing.
Absolutely. So that's
Right.
perfectly fine with me. So I'm a photographer, and I was I came to Mumbai. Okay, it was Bombay when I came here. I came to Bombay from a place called Cochin, which is in Kerala, almost 32 years back to learn photography. Okay, so the kind of backgrounds that I came from, I had no way of actually, I mean, I was not capable of going to photography school and learn photography professionally. So I thought I will take the long route, which is working with somebody as an apprentice, work as an assistant, and then work up the ladder and become a photographer. If things go well, one day I'll become I mean, that was the thought that I had in my head. Fortunately, my parents allowed me to do it, and I came to Mumbai alone, went around the streets, somebody took me on. Of course, I had an uncle in Mumbai who allowed me to stay with him. I would go around, keep meeting photographers, and so it's a long story. But what I want to definitely tell you is, if any of you, okay, who's listening to this particular conversation that we're having today, and who wants to become a photographer, for that matter, you want to become anything that you want, it is possible. Okay, it is possible. I'm sure you've heard it 100 times before, or many thousand times before, and some of you have already done it as well. It is definitely possible. So I always talk about a cookery show. In television, there are these cookery shows, and there was way much. I mean, in the past, when there were no internet, and there was no Netflix and stuff, we all used to watch television, and used to watch programs on television. You have to wait for that program to appear. So it had another fun altogether. So there was this cookery show, and Indians, never used to make cookery shows, so that we used to listen to this guy from Southeast Asia. His name was Kim. And he had this cookery show where he said, the show used to end saying that, don't worry, this is not difficult. If Kim can cook, you too can cook, So I want to actually start by saying, whatever that you see in this small session that we're going to have, if I can do it, you also can do it. Okay. So what I am going to do is to show you a small presentation about photography, give you a small introduction to photography, and also give you some guidelines using which you can take pictures and instantly see the difference. Okay, it is not like you have to spend time. You follow those small guidelines, and you can instantly see difference in the way you take pictures. Do we have polling in it? No, it's not possible. It's poll, asking children, how many of you are really interested in photography?
Yeah, chat.
You can do
polling.
Is it?
No,
if you are really interested in photography, you can type in the chat box. Right?
Or you can raise your hand.
Thumbs up.
I just raise your thumbs up.
Yeah, raise your hand.
How many of you are interested?
I have raised my hand.
All right. So I can see whoever is on my screen.
Yeah, there is an option here. There's an icon. Yeah, you just have to click
raise
that.
Hands, yes.
Yeah. Raise hands,
wonderful. Okay, wonderful. So almost everybody is interested in photography. So let me tell you, photography is not very difficult to learn. Like I said, if I can do it, you also can do. What you have to do is to keep watching things all around you all the time. Okay. What is photography? Light, painting with light. That's what it means. Graphy, photo. Photography is painting with light. So what I'm going to do is to give you a small introduction, okay, by way of a small presentation. And using that presentation, once we are through with it, you will get a decent idea, and you will no longer worry about picking your camera, even if it is a mobile phone or a small camera that you have, or a good camera that you have. Whatever that you have, you will not be worried about picking that up and taking a picture. Okay, is that okay? Are you all with me? Wonderful, great. So I'm going to quickly make a short presentation, but let me present the screen. Okay, so this goes. All right, so let me go to the presentation. So can you see me?
Yes.
Yes, Anna.
All right.
Yes, Anna.
All right. So that's my name, Radhakrishnan Chakyat. So I told you, you can call me Radhana. That's perfectly fine. Thank you very much. And do you remember seeing this anytime in your studies, somewhere while surfing, or in some books? Do you remember seeing these images? This kind of an image?
Yes, Anna.
Yes,
Yeah,
you are.
Anna.
Do you know what it is?
Tribal cave painting.
Okay, so these are cave paintings, of course. The only difference is This particular cave painting is from 12,000 years ago. Okay, it is from a cave in sub-Saharan desert. And do you know why these cave paintings were originally made? Do you know the idea behind it?
Anyone can try and guess? To answer. Why do you think they did those cave paintings? Just imagine if you were there at that point of time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
At that time, there were no cameras, so for making the memories, they used to draw.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very good.
So that's a brilliant answer. Probably it is not memories. It is in those days, the only instinct of a human being was to survive. Okay, they will get out only to hunt. They hunt something. They'll run back to their caves. The caves are so low. They used to live in very low ceilings. Caves did not have too much height. They definitely had very, very small entrances. They would kind of crawl inside, lie down throughout the day. Of course, they eat and they lie down. They don't wander about. And like you said, there were no cameras, there were no malls, and there were no parks, and there were no recreation. The only objective was for them was to not get killed by bigger animals. Okay, so they would go inside and they lie down, during which time they are looking at the ceiling all the time. Okay, so what they would do was they will describe their experiences so that the next generation can learn from it, or someone who's coming there after them can see it, because they were gypsies. They would move from one place to another, and they will probably warn the next occupant of that cave from, let's say, there's a dangerous being in this area, or what do you have to do with them, and all that. So if you look at this particular picture, it's about a hunt. They were hunting an animal, and the animal below, all possibility looks like a dinosaur of sorts or something like that. I mean, so it is very, very old. It's not a dinosaur, of course, but very, very basic structures or illustrations they used to make so that the story is very clear, and whoever is occupying later can be their children, their grandchildren can learn from it in exactly the same way why we make drawings, why we make paintings. So this probably was the first photograph. I mean, the original photograph which was made. Of course, it was an illustration. Now, after a while, as they progressed through this whole cave painting, they started narrating stories. Okay, now this looks like a harvest story, correct? I mean, you can see a cow there. You can see women carrying crops on her heads, on their head. You can also see a horse and things like that. So obviously there is harvest. So they started narrating instead of creating single images. They started narrating a story, and they progressed. They continued doing that, and somewhere around 14th century, as you see, colors got at. That was the time. Have you heard about Renaissance? Have you studied that in your social science, social studies about Renaissance in Europe? Have you?
Yes or no?
Correct. So during that time, this is in India. This is what happened in India around about 14th century. Colors got added into it. Correct. These were from the temples of northern Kerala. Interesting colors got added to it. The storytelling became a little more vivid, and this is again this is a famous painting during the Renaissance, from the Renaissance period. Okay, so they started telling stories story through paintings. So first it was small illustrations, then it became the storytelling started developing in a major way. Okay, now look at this particular image. This image, what do you see? You see an inverted image of something on a wall, correct? Now,
Yes.
Yeah. So this basically what happened was, this man, this is a story. Okay, this is a story which I cooked up. So this happened in the, when these paintings were evolving. This man was sitting in this room, and through a hole in the opposite wall, a little bit of sunlight was coming through, and the sunlight was hitting this wall, which is in front of you. Okay, and it was not just light, it also created an inverted image of a building which was on the other side of the street in front. Okay, now imagine in those days when people barely had ideas about science and stuff. Anyone would have jumped up from their seat and say there is some ghost in this room, there is something which is like completely abnormal happening in this room, and he would run to the next room or run out crying for help. But what did this guy do? He was a little scientifically oriented, correct? What he did was he walked into the next room, made a hole in the wall, and he could see that this thing could be repeated. So basically what was happening was an image which is outside the room. So the candle, I'm representing the candle A as the building outside, okay, and this box as this particular room where this boy was in, and through the hole, the image of the candle was falling on the wall in front, and it was creating an inverted image. I'm sure you have learned this in your physics class. So this is basically was probably the first time a camera was, the thought of a camera originally, it originated, and they started putting that into good use. So till then, an artist could only make an artistic impression of, let's say, a landscape or a building or a scenery, whatever that is in front. He could make only an artistic impression, which means he can look at it, he can try and make an image in his head and try to kind of transcribe it on or put it down onto a piece of paper in front of him. But using this particular technique, they could actually replicate images. Okay, so this was somewhere around 1400. So this 100 years saw the development of this thing called the camera obscura. Okay, though that a phenomena called that pinhole, the light coming through the pinhole and creating an image, all that happened very, very long ago. Okay, even before Christ, people knew about it, but it was actually put to good use in somewhere around 1400 and 1500s. Okay, so they created a box above. Can you see it in front of you? Correct. There is that building on the other side, and using this camera which is called camera obscura. Obscura is dark, camera is a box. So using this dark box, they could actually get an inverted image on this on that paper in front of them, and they could create a realistic image or a replication of that image outside. So it can be buildings, it could be sceneries, and of course it had limitations, but they could create a exact replica, okay, in front. Now you had to wait, or rather we had to wait another 400 years before this man came along, called Christopher Niepce. He's a French man. Of course, I don't know the exact pronunciation. I think it's Christopher Niepce. This was the first photographic image which was ever formed. So what did he do? He realized that certain chemicals, I'm sure you learned it in chemistry, certain chemicals react in a certain way when exposed to sunlight, correct? Now, what he did was he created a plate on which he created his concoction of chemical mixture, spread it, kept it in one side of that camera obscura, okay, where the image was formed, where the artist was copying. On that particular plane where the image was getting focused, he kept this sensitized plate. Sensitized meaning it was, he applied a photosensitive mixture of chemicals on it, and he kept it there, and he allowed the light to pass through that hole, correct? And the image fell on this plate. Obviously, the chemicals reacted with the sunlight and created an image. And it was called the view from the window Le Gras. It's somewhere in Paris, so it's a view from the window at Le Gras. Well, on this plate, you can't see anything, right? Can you see any image? But subsequently, they worked on it and they came up with an image like this. So this was probably the first ever photograph that was taken. Okay, so from 12,000 years ago, from the cavemen who started creating those cave paintings, to 1825, photography traveled a very long way. Well, it is actually not photography; it is storytelling. Traveled a long way, and this was probably, they say this is the first one. So this image is still, considered to be the first photograph ever taken. And this is the camera, apparently. This is the camera that scientist. He was actually not a photographer, because photographer never existed, right? He's the one who took the first photograph. So he was probably scientifically more, he was more a scientist than a photographer. So he created, this is the camera, apparently, the camera that he used for taking that image. Okay. And there were modern versions. So I am now slightly, jumping a little forward. 1825, we are almost 200 plus years from the actual photograph, correct? We are sitting today. We have all these kind of technology available. So the first camera got, modified. People kept on, as human beings, what do? We keep working on bettering. Anything that we invent, we try to better it, correct? So as a part of that progression, they created something like this. So the hole which you saw in that box was replaced by a glass element, which we call lens. And the lens started helping the photographer focus the image much better on the far end of the camera. So that box, the Camera Obscura, now became a complicated box like this. It is dark inside. The hole which was in front, which was allowing the light to go through, was replaced by a lens. And on the other side, now we have a fully developed, a highly complex mixture of chemicals which are highly sensitive to light and color. And now you could create exact reproduction, not like what he created in 1827. Now you can create an absolute, ditto replica or ditto reproduction of what is in front. Okay. And it did not stop there. So we kept on improvising, and now we have something called a digital SLR. So I have something like that in my hand, and this is what I use these days to take photographs. Okay. Now, though we talked about 12,000 years ago and the progression, and we said that in 1827, Christopher Niepce, the tongue twister, the man with the tongue twisting name, invented photography. 200 years later, the principles of photography is still the same, correct? It is not changed at all. So you need a box, the Camera Obscura, a dark box. You need a lens. You require a subject to photograph. Now, these two are not sufficient. You also require light. So the light falls on the subject. Now, the reflected light passes through the lens onto the far end of the box, where the photosensitive surface. Now, I told you there is something called film, which was photosensitive chemicals were there, which is replaced by a digital camera. So instead of a film, what do you have there? You have something called a sensor, a digital sensor. You know that the light you've learned in your physics class that the energy is converted from one form to another, correct? Can be converted from one form to another. It can neither be destroyed, created, nor destroyed. What is happening here is the light energy through the lens gets comes and falls on the photosensitive surface. The chemicals converts the light into chemical energy, but the chemical reactions create a form, and then through another chemical process, it gets converted into an image. Now light falls on it, then you start seeing that image. So there is a change in its state, right? Now the light, similarly, instead of the light sensitive chemicals, now that surface is replaced by digital sensors. So no chemistry, no chemicals. The light is captured as digital data, and the computer converts it back into an as image, as information. Okay, so this has the substance on which earlier during the camera obscura days, the man used to sit in front and make these complicated drawings, looking at the impression, I mean, the reflection or the image formed on the image surface. It was replaced by chemicals. So you had the photo. Now you have digital photo because that surface is now replaced by digital sensors. Okay, but the principle of photography has not changed at all. So this is your lens. This dotted line is called the image plane. Okay, that image plane is where the image is formed, and now we have a digital sensor sitting there, which is converting the light into digital information, and your softwares will convert it back into an image. The distance between that lens to the image plane is called focal length. I'm sure you have learned all this in your physics class. And this angle, you know, there is a limit to what the lens can see. The lens, there are certain lenses which can see more, there are certain lenses which can see less. So that angle which the lens can see is called the angle of view. Okay, so you will come across these terms in one form or the other. Even now, when you see a mobile phone ad, you will see wide angle lens, it's got a portrait lens, it's got a macro lens. This is what they are referring to, the angle of the lens, the angle which the lens can see, like your eye. Now yours and my eyes are one of the most complex things that exist in the universe. We can actually see almost everything on your left to right, correct? Except some people can even see, you know, behind. You know, they have a sixth sense. They can actually see what is behind. Anyway, so the eye, I mean, the lens represents the eye of the camera. Now, what I am showing is a cross section. You know what a cross section is? If you cut this camera into a half and look this way, what you see here is the cross section. So I don't have I cannot use a pointer here, but I'm just follow the arrow. The arrow mark, the red arrow marks is the path of the light. Okay, so the light enters through. So what you're seeing is the cross section of this lens. The light enters through that. And the angled one, you know, the angled thing is a mirror. Okay, it goes up, hits a pentaprism which sits inside this area of the camera. Okay, you can see me, right? You can see me also in a box.
Yeah, no.
Can you? All right. So this box, okay, this box has a pentaprism, and it is kind of you are seeing what is being seen through the lens. And when you click, now look at the next image very carefully. Okay, this is what happens. This was like that, and when you click that mirror, see that mirror? It goes up. It allows the light to hit that red dotted portion, which is your digital sensor. Okay, thus the image forms on the back side of your camera. Camera records it. It sends that information on to something called a memory card, which sits inside here. Even in your mobile phones, there is a memory card. Sometimes you can take out. In some phones, it's a memory which is inside. It sends it there and it records it there. So that's how the image is formed, and which subsequently you can actually see them. You followed what I was talking all this while?
Yes, Anna.
Okay. So in a mobile phone, okay, in a mobile phone, you don't have the mirror that I showed you in the earlier. So here I showed you this mirror, the slanted, you know, that thing which stays in 45 degrees, that green colored, the dual line, that two lines are a mirror, correct? In your phone, the phone being so small, so thin, tiny, it doesn't have that, okay? So is this thing called Pentaprism, that blue thing on top, it doesn't have. It has, your phone is always like this. The moment you switch on your camera, the light through this lens is falling on this digital sensor, which is right behind it always, which is what you're seeing through the other side. So every time you switch on, all right, and when you look through, correct, you are seeing what is seeing, or what the sensor is seeing. Sensor is always converting the digital data, sending it onto this large screen so that you can see what the sensor is seeing. Okay, so let me okay, what you can see what the sensor is seeing. So what we're going to now see is, since I understand that you all use mobile phones, and this will come to you slightly later. I'm sure it will come to you. We will start taking pictures with our mobile phones and learning a mobile phone. I mean, I'm sure you all are already taking photographs. Some of you may be taking very good pictures already. What I am trying to give you is a small perspective. I'm going to try and tell you few tips and tricks using which you can take very good images using a mobile phone. Okay. So the first thing that you have, sorry?
Any mobile phones.
Any mobile phone. You don't have to, I don't have an expensive phone. It's a regular phone. Okay. You don't have to necessarily have an expensive phone. So let me guarantee you that. A decent phone which you are using for your mobile, you know, for your studies, you can use that phone. Now, what you have to do is, before you actually start out, you need to prepare your phone always. Okay. So how do you prepare the phone? First, you need to clean. It's like you wake up in the morning. First thing what you do is you clean your eyes, correct? Because you need to wash your face, clean, and then you start seeing things very clearly, right? In the bed, if somebody wakes you up suddenly, you don't see things very clearly. It takes kind of a couple of minutes before you actually see things in front of you very clearly. The phone inside your bag, inside your pocket, in your hand, always is like that sleeping guy. Chances are that in front of the lens, there is something, dust, oil. You know, we all use oil on our head. Oil, for something, dust will be there in always, because we live in a rather dusty country. Okay, so the chances are that there will be dust on the surface of the lens. Now you look at these lenses compared to these lenses, correct? a small speck of dust on this may not make too much of a difference, but a small speck of dust on such a small lens will make a lot of difference to your image. So what you have to do is always carry a small clear cloth. Okay, it can be, imagine you have a t-shirt, an old t-shirt that you have, not the new one, an old t-shirt, you are ready to throw that away, that kind of a t-shirt. Okay, take
Cotton
a
one.
a cotton, but not a new one. Okay, an old one. Okay,
Okay.
it can even be an you know, your any old cotton cloth, but old
Anna,
for sure. Yes,
Anna, for
yes,
specs they will give Anna one cloth you can provide
absolutely.
for.
Correct, exactly. So I am using that. I use it's called an anti-static cloth. Okay, so if you have an access to anti-static cloth, if your father, mother, someone at home is using a specs, I'm sure they have one like this at home. If
I
not, if this is not expensive, opticians actually give it away free. So you must manage to get one like this. Okay. What you have to do is to clean the front, the rear of the camera, all right, rear lens and the front lens. Sometimes you may be shooting selfies, you may be recording a video looking at it. So looking at the front camera. So find out where the front camera is and clean that front camera as well. Okay. And you will instantly see a quality difference. Okay. So once that is done, the next thing that you have to do is to switch on your camera. Okay. And inside the camera, you will see an option called grid, G-R-I-D. Okay. Don't do it now. You can practice this after our session is over. It's very, very simple. And you will get a grid like this. If I don't know if you can see this because of the slides,
Yes,
you
Anna,
may
we
not be
can
able to
see.
see.
Anna,
Okay,
there are
wonderful.
lines.
That's right. That's right. So those lines are called grids. Okay. So it will, when you say 3 by 3 grid, it actually means your
Three vertical and three like this. Anna.
absolutely. So it will divide your screen into 9 portions. Okay, 3 horizontal and 3 vertical portions. So multiplied by 3 into 3 becomes 9 rectangular, boxes. So you need to activate this. I'll actually tell you the advantages later. I'll demonstrate it to you. Now, these grids will not appear in your photograph, okay? It is only for your reference so that when you take the photograph, you can use them as a reference. They will not appear as a part of your image, okay? So they look like this, okay? Dotted lines. Now, the next thing that you must remember is some of you have a slightly older phone. Some of you may be using slightly newer phone. So if you look at the phones have a rectangular screen, a rectangular screen. You tend to take pictures which fills the screen completely, correct? Now,
Yes.
that is called, so if you look at the photograph is actually measured in aspect ratio. What is an aspect? The relationship between the width and the height, okay? Now, in a camera like this is a professional camera. In this professional camera, the height and width of the image is fixed for all cameras like this. It's fixed. And the popular or the international standard is 4:3. So 4 is your width, 3 is your height. But on a mobile phone, that is not the proportion. Its width is way too much than the height. This proportion is called 16:9. Okay, 16:9. Now, as you know, when we take pictures, we want to see the screen filled with our image, and then we take pictures. Most of us do that. So I'll tell you what you have to do is you need to look at the camera. The camera settings will have an option whether when you take still images, okay, not video, still images. We are not talking about video yet. Still images, you will use a proportion called 4:3. So you go to still photo, correct? your camera app will have photo and video. You go to photo, then you go to your camera settings, you will see this kind of proportions available. So you will see many such ratios: 4:3, 16:9, 1:1, depending on your camera phone models, you will see lots of options. If you are taking a still image, a still photograph, you must select 4:3. I'll tell you why.
And I have a
Sorry.
doubt.
Please ask.
And we can do in this also in the keypad phone, no?
Keypad? Well, in your keypad phone, you may not, the other phone, you don't have too many options, okay? You have only one camera, and in that one camera, too many options are not available. So for you, what is available, you may not even get the grid. So you will have to, you want to practice this, I think you should borrow your brother's, father's, somebody's phone or a friend's phone and practice this if you are really interested in photography. The phone that you have, if it's a keypad phone, you can take a picture, but you may not have, it will come to you. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't get disheartened. Okay. That phone will come to you. For the time being, you start practicing with this. You may not get the grids in that phone. You may not get all these options, but don't worry. Keep taking pictures and you will soon get a good phone. You can, for time being, if you happen to have a friend, a relative, request 5 minutes from them and practice and give it back to them. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so 16:9 is the aspect which fills your screen. Okay, now I'll tell you why it is not a good idea. When you shoot at 4:3, this is the kind of image you will get. Same place. Okay, I took two pictures, one with 16:9, the other 4:3. Okay, now let me place the 16:3 over the 4:3. Can you see it? The 16:9 is the inside, which means that has less information. So the camera is at its best when it is 4:3. Okay. Some people buy the camera, a new phone, because it has more resolution. Resolution, higher the number, better the image. Okay. That is the understanding that we have. So have you heard a resolution in a camera? When they talk about, they said 12 megapixel, 64 megapixel, 108 meg. Correct? So you don't need to have a 12 megapixel phone is good enough. You don't need to have very expensive phones. Okay. So if you want the 12 megapixel to be recorded, you need to shoot at 4:3 aspect ratio. If you shoot at 16:9, what will happen is the camera is actually cropping that image and just fooling you by filling that image on your screen. Okay, so you should always shoot a still image at 4:3. We are only talking about still images, not video. Okay. The other thing that you may have noticed is three different kind of, sometimes when you take a picture, the picture goes like this, very bright, correct? And sometimes you shoot, it goes very dark.
And one time it will go like dark.
Very dark, correct. So the technical name for that situation is called, if it is dark, it's called underexposed. What is it called? It's called underexposed. And when it is over, it's called overexposed. So as photographers, we must try and use the right term, okay, right terminology, okay? And the correct one will have all the information in it. Now, how do you get that? So to get that, it's very easy. In most smartphones, you can do something called focus and exposure lock. How do you do that? If you have a smartphone, unfortunately, on the other phone, it is not currently available. On a smartphone, what you can do is you switch on your phone, clean. Of course, you need to do all that drill. You need to hold it with both hands. Don't shoot like that. Okay. don't do like this. Always hold it with both hands. Okay? And for shooting, for triggering, use your thumb, not your index finger. Use your thumb to take pictures like this. So if I'm here, see, can you see me?
Your video is off.
Yes, Anna.
Yes,
No,
sir.
no,
Yes,
it is
No, no.
on. It is
Oh, is it?
Oh,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
it
yeah.
is on.
I will be in one of the boxes.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I'll be in somewhere in some one box. Yeah. So you have to use your thumb to take that image. Just click and the image. So never shoot like this. Okay. If you do that, you're going to shake the image, shake the lens and shake the phone, and thereby you're going to shake the you're going to get a blurred image. So hold the camera firmly, hold the phone firmly with both hands. Make sure that your fingers are not covering the lens, okay? And use your thumb to take the picture like this. See? Like that. Okay? So you will get a very, very crisp image. Now, what you have to do is, if you really want to get the focus right, suppose if you're shooting somebody, taking a photograph of somebody, get that person in your frame and touch on the face of your subject. So if you're taking a photograph of me, I am your subject. You are the photographer. Okay. So I will always refer to the model or your target as subject. Okay. That's a photography term. So if you're taking pictures of your people at your home, your father, your mother, your brothers, or your friends, they are your subjects. Okay. So what you have to do is to touch the face, then the camera will go and focus on their face. Once they focus in your camera, okay, you may not be able to do it now, but after the session, you can go and do that. Once you touch, you will see a small lock, like a paddle lock. You know what a paddle lock is? Tala, a lock?
Like a circle color, it will appear now.
Well, the circle will appear, but on the right side, you will see a stripe. And you will also see a lock there. You touch on that lock, the focus will be locked on that face. It will not shift again. Then what you have to do is to look at the screen, and next to that circle that you mentioned just now, you will see a sliding bar, a slider. You will see a slider. You click on that slider. If you click, press, and slide your fingers up on the screen, you will see the screen becoming brighter. You slide your fingers down, you will see the screen going darker. At a portion where you think all the light in your room is perfectly, or your scenery, or your on your frame is correct, you should stop there and click on that paddle lock once more. So your focus and your exposure both are locked for that particular scene. Okay? Then you take the picture.
Anna, repeat.
Am I clear? Okay, repeat. So you see this frame? Okay. Aditya, can you
Yes,
come
sir.
here? Come on this side. What I'm going to do is I'll stop this presentation for 2 seconds and I'll show you full screen, and then I'll go back. Okay. So you can keep me on full screen. Okay, Aditya, you can come and sit here. Come a little closer. Come a little closer to me. A little closer. All right. Can you see him here?
It's
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. So you touch his face. Once you touch his face, you will see a slider here. Can you see that slide? Okay, let me come close and let me touch on. You can see a slider, no?
It is showing positive side and negative side.
Yeah, a positive and negative. You see
Yes,
that?
Anna.
Yes,
Correct. So if you slide towards the positive, it will let more light come in. This image will become brighter. Okay. And if you slide it down, the camera will see less light and it will reduce the light. So let me take 2 pictures. Okay. I'll show it to you. One, I'm going to touch his face and I'm going to use the paddle lock and lock it. So the focus is locked. Then I touch on his face and I slide up. Slide up. I'm going to take one picture for you as sample. I touch again. I took another one. I touch, and I'm going to take one more picture with less light. Okay. So I'm going to play these three images for you. Maybe you can see it. Okay. So this is the third image. This is the overexposed image. Yeah. And this is very overexposed. This is so when you use that slider, bring it to a place where everything is nice and clean. Okay. So you can do this very, very well every time. You can look at the screen and decide whether because what you see is so what you see is what you get. Okay. Whatever that you see on the screen is what you're going to get. So which means you need to get it right on the screen itself. Now, there is one more thing that you have to do before you actually start shooting. Okay, somebody raised your hand. Jayashree, you want to say something? Okay, fine. So, in your screen, see, there is something called a brightness, display brightness. Have you seen it in your camera setting?
Yes, Anna.
Phone setting?
Display brightness.
Display brightness. What you have to do is switch it off from the auto mode and bring the brightness to 50%, right at the middle. Never keep it at auto. Always keep it at 50%. Why? Because then you actually will get, the moment you keep it at auto, the screen brightness will vary with the brightness of the place where you are. It's called ambient brightness. Okay. If you walk into a very low light room, the screen will become less bright. You walk out in the sun, it will become very bright. So you will not be able to judge your image well.
Anna, if we walk in the sun, it will become more bright, no, na?
That's right. That's right. So if you walk into in outdoors, your screen will automatically become bright.
Sometimes if I go to dark room, my phone will get so dark now.
Exactly.
Anna, sometimes
When I
it
use
depends
camera.
on the weather, no, na?
Sorry?
Sometimes it depends on the weather.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on the weather. So that's called ambient light. Ambient meaning whatever is around you. Ambient light. So you should always see your phone in one setting, which is at 50% of the screen brightness, so that you have a reference. My screen, I am going to see always in same brightness. Then you can judge your image properly. Understand? Otherwise, you will think that you came inside, my image is bright, so you will start pushing up the slider, you will get an overexposed image. Understand? So what you will do is you will first do clean the lens. You will activate your 3:3 grid. Then you will go to 4:3 aspect ratio. Then you will set the screen brightness to 50%. Then you will focus lock, exposure lock, and then you start shooting. That is when you will need some understanding to how to compose a picture, how to take a picture. That is where your image will become different from your friend's image. Okay. Till this point, almost everyone can, you can do it. So what is the next step is the next step is composing the image. Composing is what? How to frame. You may be already using that technique among yourself, saying that mera frame acha hai. My frame, I took a better frame, right? You use that term, right? So
yes, Anna.
How do you see your frames? There are certain guidelines. These are not rules, okay? Nobody will beat you up if you don't use it. These are just guidelines. Using which, if you use it, chances are that your image will look better. Okay. Now, how did they come up with these rules? They looked at, yes.
Anna, my big brother, Nana, he will not do like this, Alana. He will put his camera on and he will take a photo. His photo will come so clean and neat.
Fantastic. Some people have that, ability to see images well. You know, some people needs a little training to see images. So your brother may be already an expert because he's seen it, he has learned it on his own, or maybe somebody has taught him. Okay, and you will
He
also
went
do
to
that.
these classes and photography classes. He went
Wonderful. So there you go. There you go. So that's the reason why he is instantly getting those images. You will also now start doing them. You will also now show your brother saying that, look, I shot this too. You know, it's possible. That's why I told you, if I can do, you also can do. Okay. Kim can cook, you too can cook. All right. Okay. So let me show you that secret of how to take those interesting images. Okay. Now, this is the place we need to give special attention. Okay. This is what is going to make this is, let me switch off my raising hands. Okay. And let me present again. Allow. All right. So let me present. So can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
Anna.
Yes.
Anna.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
All
Anna.
right. Perfect. So framing. Okay. I told you. That's why your brother is getting better pictures. Is because he knows how to compose his image better. He knows that trick, you know, that you have to use to get the images, his framing right. Okay. The technical term is called composing. So now you can actually, you know, tell your brother like, you know, I learned composing. I can compose pictures better. Then he will
We'll
say,
be
oh,
comparing each other, Nonna. I took
you,
well.
you can do it peacefully. No arguments, okay? So you can definitely do it. And you should never get into an argument with him about mine is better than yours, okay? You should always learn by exchanging ideas. All right, so that's very, very important. Your brother will say that I took a better picture. If he happens to say that, you say, oh, wonderful. Can you teach me? Similarly, you take a picture. I said, I shot it like this. And you need to share it with your brother. Okay. And similarly, encourage him to share it with you as well. Okay. So no argument, no one-upmanship. Okay. It's very, very, very clear because only then you will learn. Understand?
Yes,
I want to
Anna.
hear you saying it. I want to hear
Okay,
you saying yes. All right. Wonderful. Okay. So the first, I told you there are no rules, only guidelines. But this one, unfortunately, is called rule of thirds. But it's not a rule, it's a guideline. Okay. So what is a guideline? You remember we got that grid, the 3x3 grid activated on our phone when we started taking pictures?
Yes,
We
Anna.
will make use of that image. Okay. Our idea, okay, to keep our subject. Now, look at this image. This is a representation of the grid. And those red circles, that is where you should try and keep or position your subject. Okay. Your subject can be anybody. Subject can be human beings. Subjects can be a structure, a house, a tree, an animal, human beings, all, or just scenery. Your objective is to align your horizontal lines matching up to these lines or vertical lines matching to these lines and keep your important, meaning if you are photographing your, say, let's say your brother, then the brother should be positioned on these two circles, two red circles, meaning they should be over that. Similarly, over the right one, either of them. I'll show you an example. Now, this is one picture which I've already shot. I've taken the help of this particular guideline. Okay, so I'm going to place my grid over it now. Can you see the grid over the image?
Yes, Anna.
Yes,
Yes,
Anna.
Anna.
See how the models are placed in that image? So they are on that red dot. So let me go back and see the left red part. It's called rule of third. So they have to be on the 1/3 of, or they should occupy the third of the frame. So basically, it translates to this: They can be either on this line on your left side or the line on your right side. So nobody invented it. Okay, what did they do? They collected a lot of images. They kept aside the one which appealed to the majority, and then they realized that the majority appealed or liked these images because they were the images or their subjects were on this particular guideline. Okay. And then they suggested to a photographer saying that, look, if you're taking a photograph, try and keep your subjects on the rule of third line. So that's why you need to activate your grid. You need to keep them on that grid line, not on the left of the grid line or on the center of the image, but on the grid line. Okay, understand? Did you follow it? Yes.
And now whenever I go to take a photo on another, I will see the photographer's camera. The grids will be on and off.
Correct. You should have the grids on. Even these cameras, even these professional cameras have grids inside. I can activate that and it will help me take better images. Okay. So similarly, another image. And when you look at it, you can actually see that lady is on that line. So when you take a picture next time, make sure that the lines, if there is a line, there's a street, or there's sea, or let's say a ground, or a wall. Make sure that the wall line is parallel to your grid line, and your subject is on the rule of third line. So the left line or the right line. Okay. Once you do that, your pictures will instantly start looking better. I'll show you more references. Here also, when you look at it, you will see that reference being followed. Here also, when you look at it, you will see the reference being followed. So I'm making it very, very simple for you. Okay. Here, now, when you look at, this is a 16:9, you know, that wide format. Again, you can use, if that is what you want to shoot, you can shoot like this. These are mobile phone pictures. See, again, this image will give you a better, feel. I will also show you some images which are not in this, and then you will not following this guideline. So you will see the difference. Now, this is an image, okay, an empty apartment. There's sunlight coming in. And I'm going to try and place the grid over it. See, where is that subject? It is not. They are not on the grid. They are not following the guideline. Correct. Now, what do I have to do to improve this picture? I need to reframe. Okay. I have to move and reframe, or you have to tell the subject to move. Okay. Those are the two ways in which you can align your subject and your guideline. Two ways. Which are they? You can move to adjust, or you can tell your subject to move. Okay. So I refocused. So if you look at the earlier one, the lines inside the building were not inside the room. So just look at below the air conditioner. The line was not straight. Line was not parallel to the grid. So I reframed like this. So the lines were parallel. My subject became on rule of third, and it created a much interesting image than the previous one. Sorry, let me go back again. Than the first one. So see, this is the one. Which is better now? Here, I corrected, and this is the corrected image. Isn't this looking better?
Yeah. Yes, one better.
All right. You will. Similarly, this is a picture, you know, that's my son, myself, and my mother. Okay. And just a picture was shot by my wife. She didn't know about the rule and all that. So she just took one photograph. Now, how do we improve this? To improve it, you need to activate the grid line. Then you follow first thing. That what do? You have to follow, and you have to keep your subject on the grid line. Then you need to align your horizontals, and that's your picture. Correct? Let me show you both pictures. Then let me show you both images side by side, and then you will know.
Anna, I have a doubt.
Please ask.
We will take a photo now, and then that picture we want to edit it. We can move the subject from there to there.
While editing also you can do, but what happens is when you edit, you will lose the size of the image, okay, the resolution. So when you reframe after taking pictures, it is a very good question. We can do it in editing. That's what your question was, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so while editing also you can reframe using crop tool, but when you do that, you will lose a lot of information. Okay, to avoid that, you should ideally compose your image, frame it well, and then shoot. Understood? So these are the two images. So which is better?
The second one.
Anna.
The one on the right, correct?
Second Anna.
Yeah, so that is because it is natural. You don't, even if you were not aware of this rule or this guideline, you will still like the picture on the right side. Why? That's why I said it is not. That's how human eyes are created. I mean, our sensibilities are created. That's why it is. I told you it is not like the theory of relativity or theory of gravity. Nothing. This is how our human brain is wired to see. And when you see it like that, you will like it. Even if you don't know about the rule, you will still like it. Okay. So now that we know how to take or compose a better picture, we can use the rule of third, okay, and create a better image. Similarly, there is another one called leading or diagonal line. A little more difficult to follow, but if you follow this, you will really you'll really like it. Usually, when you're shooting on the street, you're shooting in a narrow alley. There are buildings on either side. There's a lane going like that. You can use that line to line. When I say line, this is the line that I'm talking about. See that line? Okay. It starts on the left side of my screen and it goes to the right side of my screen. Similarly here, see, this is the line. So this is the line. So what happens is, when there is a line like this, your eye will automatically follow that line and see what is on the far end of this of the line. Okay, so here you actually will see the boy before you see the ball. Correct? Let me go back. What did you see first? You will see the boy first, then you see the ball. So you can actually follow this to shoot. So let me show you an example. Now this is some place, let's say a club, for example. Somebody went and took a shot. You can actually, if you take a picture, you pull out your phone, cleaned it, took a picture, you might get a photo like this. But how do you improve upon this? You can improve it by using your grid line, get your verticals and horizontals parallel, and you look for the line. You see, this is place your subject on the third, correct? The yellow is your subject, okay? And that dotted line, okay? So this is like your maths class. First, they will give you a theorem or a question which has got only 2 lines to solve. The next period probably after a couple of periods, the teacher will come and give you something which requires 4 steps to, kind of solve. Similarly, we first saw one solution, we saw another solution. Now, in this picture, we are creating an image using both the solutions, okay? The leading line and your rule of third, okay? Otherwise, you would have got a picture like this. You can actually keep somebody in this picture, take a shot, that will be fine. But if you use rule of third, get your verticals correct, get your horizontal lines in your frames right, place your subject on the rule of third, and then use the line. Where is the line? The line is in the building, in the construction itself, in the architecture itself. Okay, so you need to start seeing them wherever you, in your classrooms. Of course, I know that you've not gone to your classrooms for the last 1.5 years, but when you go to the classrooms, there are teacher there is in the right at the middle. There's a blackboard. Then there is desks and bench on one side, desks and bench on the other side. There's a walkway in the middle. If you're standing, the walkway is your line, and the teacher is right in front. If you take a picture, you will instantly see the teacher, rather than trying to take that picture from one corner of your classroom. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. If you, I would like to I'd like to see pictures shot by you. So Bhaskaranna will send it to me. I will take a look at it, and we will meet again. All right. So don't worry. If you have not followed it completely, we will definitely do. We will meet again, and we will go over the image one by one. So here again, I corrected. This is a shot anyone could have taken, but you moved, use your grid, got your horizontals, verticals correct. You are using, see the lines on the floor is the line that you will use. And if you keep your subject on that sofa in front of you, you will create a better image. Similarly here, okay? That's the line that I'm talking about. Understood? The next thing that you need to look for is something called natural frames. Okay, so natural frames are what? The frames, for example, if you are on a veranda, you are outside on the, so let's say outside standing, there is a veranda, and there are these windows in the building. And if somebody is looking through the window, you will see the window frame, and your photo will have another frame. So that's called frame within a frame. So here the way frame within frames are, look at the auto rickshaw or that rickshaw, you will see small frames being formed there, and your models or your subjects are inside that. Okay, here again there is a frame and it's within the frame. You will have to keep shooting, only then you will understand this, but I will explain to you. I mean, if that may be a little difficult to understand, but I will, once I see your images, I'll be able to kind of explain to you later. Okay. Another interesting way to shoot is just go close and fill the frame. Okay. If you fill the frame, you will get images like this, just right up close, interesting, happy faces, and take an interesting shot like this. Correct? I did not take a wide angle shot. I went close and took a picture. Okay. Now this one I would like to skip, because I will skip this particular rule called symmetry. I will straight away go to tell a story. Now, what is a story? A picture speaks 1,000 words. Okay. If you look, when you see a movie, you need to wait till the end of the movie for the whole story to come through, right? But when you shoot a still image, each image will tell you a story. Each image will have a story to tell. Now, if you can tell a story, all those guidelines that I spoke to you about, all that will not really matter. Wow, you know that. So let me give you one example. Here, I am not really, it's a photograph from a wedding. Okay. There is a story here because I am not following the rule of third. I'm not following leading lines. I'm not following any of those guidelines, but there is a story. Now look at what is happening there. There is a man and that woman. They probably are meeting after a long time. Look at the excitement in that whole room, including that little child and that, you know, who's coming through in between two chairs and looking up. Correct? Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So they are
Yes.
all engrossed. They are all, interested in listening to what this man is saying. It's almost like, obviously they are talking something very interesting, correct? And everybody is trying to listen. So there is a story there. Somebody sees that 10 years later will also like it.
Anna, that Anna is
Similarly,
telling like something curious.
very curious, absolutely. So what do you have to do as a photographer? Capture that moment when there is, hide. I mean, if imagine everybody was in this situation, everyone was looking into the camera. Will it be as interesting as this one is?
No.
No.
No, obviously not. Now there is an interest in it. Why? Because you have captured, as a photographer, you have captured a story. Okay. Similarly here, I am sure you have done it in your home. Whenever you friends, family all got together for a festival or for a function at home, you take these selfies, right? All the girls together took a selfie and look at the friend there on the other side trying to peep in. Correct? Now that creates an interesting story. Similarly, here a father trying to take a picture and somebody else is shooting a photography session. So all these small things will create. So try to see an interesting moment happening. Here, this is a picture which I took. That's my mother and my son. This is 2016, almost 5 years back. Now he's a big boy. He's like you. He's like you guys. He's in now 10th standard. And I was sitting. Suddenly, I saw this grandmother and grandson together watching a 3D movie. And I saw this moment happening. I took my phone and took a shot. Now, this may not be following any of those guidelines that I just told you, correct? But it has an interesting story to tell, a story about a relationship. So in your homes, you must also look for these kind of interesting, situations inside your house. You will find a lot. So if you want to be a photographer, you wake up in the morning, the moment your eyes are open, you must keep looking for interesting, light, interesting moments, shapes, stories. Keep looking for it. After a while, like you've solved your complex, maths theorem, or the way you understood your complicated physics principles, you will be able to understand and learn photography using a mobile phone as well. So this is Pixel Village. That's what I do now. I do a lot. I make a lot of small videos about photography. So if on your free time, after you've done all your studies and
Anna,
help people, yes.
have you created the app Pixel Village, Anna?
Yes, there is a Pixel Village app. You can download it from Android. It's called
No, no,
Pixel
you
Village.
have created that app.
Yes, we have created. That's right. Have you downloaded it?
Yes, Anna.
Hey, thank you very much. Already.
I saw your picture in that.
Oh, yes, I am there. And you have lots of free classes on it, okay, on mobile phone photography and video. Okay, watch them. Well, okay, again, let me tell you, photography is a very interesting subject. It can become a profession, but study first, okay? Your study comes first, then you will finish all your things that you have to help your people at home and all that. Then you have to find your own time, free time, to go and practice your photography. All right. And of course, Bhaskarana can definitely consider putting together a set of pictures and probably run a competition, and I'll see how I can, reward the children with some small,
Very good idea.
something that we can try and do that. And I volunteer myself to kind of go through it and, rate the pictures and help them improve the pictures.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
one more thing, it is a career. Okay, it is a well rewarding career. So what you have to do is, well, of course, again, I keep telling you, because it is so interesting, you should not lose your interest in photography. I'm sorry, in your studies first. Okay, whatever that you have taken up already, you must finish it successfully. Then alongside, develop your photography as a passion. It'll be passion first, then it'll become a career, and it's an exciting career. Okay, so all the very best. I hope I could kind of I could express myself, and I could kind of explain to you, and you understood. Don't worry if you have not understood it. I am not the best teacher, but if you have not understood, you can actually ask questions. If not now, you can ask me later as well. All right.
Anna, I
So
have a
thank you
doubt.
very much. Thank you very much, boys and girls. If you have any questions, I over to you, Bhaskaranna and Kalpana ji. So you can let me know, what how to go about. I'm ready.
Anna.
We can take questions. Yes.
Anna, I have a doubt, Anna.
Yes. Yes,
Anna,
I.
how photographer will take a photo, Anna, and they will come after 2 days to come and take in the photo. Now, how they will do on that photo?
One more time. Can you repeat the question, please?
Are you talking
Yes,
about
Anna.
the studio, Syed?
Yes, Akka.
You're talking about the studio. They ask you to come after 2 days and take your picture.
Yes, Akka. That will how they'll do the secret.
How does that happen?
He wants to know the secret. Okay. So there is something called post-processing. Okay. Once the photograph is taken, the photograph, I told you, it is light information. It is the sensor captures it, converts it into digital information. But for you to get a print, it has to go through one extra process. All right. That process is called post photography process. The pet name is post processing. Now, post process, that they need time for that. That's why they ask you to come slightly later and collect the photograph. So they will do that mantra. They will do on the computer, and then you will get that image. You will learn it. It is not difficult. You can learn it, Syed. It's not difficult at all. Yes.
Tasmia.
Anna, without the rule of third and without the grid, we can click the same only with the 4:3, Anna, only with the 4:3 screen.
Yes, of course, 4:3 is the aspect ratio. That is the size of your frame. The grid
No.
is for...
I am asking that without the rule of third and the grid, we can click the same photo only with that 4:3, Anna.
Yes, you can. You can. Of course, you can. I told you the last one. If you have an interesting story to tell, correct? You can take the picture. The story will overpower. The story will give you... I think she got disconnected. Tasmia, right? Tasmia. 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 So you can actually take pictures, all right, without all that. But, it is like this. When you start swimming, okay, I mean, if you have learned swimming, or if you learned cycling, how did you start learning cycling? With 3 wheels. I mean, a tricycle, right? Or you had your people, your father, mother, somebody holding you, helping you, correct?
Someone
And
helps us.
correct. Once you start learning, once you learned the cycle, then you don't need that help. Similarly, those rule of third and all those guidelines are only to help you. Okay, they are not going to bind you. If you have already learned swimming, you don't require the tube anymore to swim. Correct? Professional swimmers don't swim with the tube around them. Correct? Similarly, this is only a guideline for you to learn. Once you learn, it's like handwriting. In your handwriting, you use the two-lined book to improve your handwriting, right? Once you improved, you don't require it. You can write a straight line even on a, plain, simple, unruled, simple plain paper. Similarly, these are all guidelines. You need to first start, practicing it. Once you have learned or acquired a certain amount of abilities, you will not really need it anymore.
Next question.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
Radhakrishnan.
you.
No,
Yes.
can you give us 5 more minutes before you close?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, because
Absolutely.
I want to give you a surprise. You will
Oh, which
see.
is?
I'll show you. Let
All
let me
right.
present it to you.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then we'll have the last question now, Bhaskar. The other
Ah,
questions, children, you all can put it in the chat box. We'll
yeah.
compile it and send it to Bhaskaran, to Radhakrishna Anna.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I can wait. This is not a problem. Let's finish this.
Okay.
That's not a
Okay, so
problem. If they
three
want
more
to
questions.
ask,
Yeah, 3 more questions.
sure.
Bhaskaran is presenting. Okay, after that.
Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Now, what is the app that you have created?
Haha. Your Prabhavati is asking
All
Bhaskarana.
interested in your app. Okay. Now, yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. So Radhakrishnan, what happened? I'll just give you a brief background. My
Sure.
connectivity today doesn't seem to be very stable, but still,
Sure.
I actually to about 10-15 of these students,
Uh,
Neptune's class 9, I
uh.
had shown them your video shoot like a pro #1, the first
Oh.
one. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
So, and
Okay.
then, yeah, I had done that, and I had prepared screenshots from that video just
Okay.
to make them understand better. But today you have made it very clear. In
Sure.
fact, my understanding also is
Oh
much
yeah.
better now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I will tell you. So I told them, see, this is fill the frame. These are
Yeah.
all your shots. So
Oh,
some of
wonderful.
my pictures I tried to make them understand
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Fill
Yeah.
the frame.
Yeah.
White. This is
Yeah.
yours. This is
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
your clothes, my
Yeah.
clothes, right? And use a
Yeah.
frame within a frame. This one
Yeah.
is,
It's not moving. It's stuck.
so this is, it's not
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now it is.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So this is my frame within a
Frame in
frame.
frame. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah, frame in frame. Frame in
Again, frame
frame.
in frame. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. This is also another kind of
Yeah.
frame in frame.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, of course, is frame in frame, right? Okay. Now, the rule of third, which you
Yeah.
showed,
Yes.
I can see Vishnu is your favorite subject.
Yeah.
Rule of
No,
third.
in the
So,
Vishnu is in the next one. Vishnu is it's not. He's not here.
Vishnu is
These
not
are all
here. Yeah,
Vishnu's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
friends.
So I
Yeah.
thought my imaginary rule of third,
Yeah. Yeah.
again, a rule of third,
Yeah.
and this one is yours. So
Yeah.
I took
Yeah.
this
This
as a
can be
rule of
probably a
third.
little more wider. Maybe you've cropped it or something.
Yes, 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 correct. Then leading lines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is leading line.
yeah. I thought, like the best leading lines that I had.
Uh-huh.
And see this line also
Correct.
leading
Correct.
to the butterfly. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
And then rule of odds,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
three flowers better than
Yeah.
one or two,
Two. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. Although this is resolution not very good, but then
Yeah.
here you have five, which is odd.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Okay, then this is the symmetry.
Symmetry. Yeah.
Symmetry.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
one
Correct.
symmetry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
temple also could be symmetry, isn't it?
Yeah. So you
Because
can actually go. You can do it by going a little far away and keeping it. Now there is
okay. Yeah,
symmetry will be
okay.
slightly can be interpreted a little better.
Okay. Now this is what I made an attempt, but no. See, then I have two students who have
Okay.
done it. Yeah,
All right.
on their mobile. This is
Okay.
from Jayashree.
Jayashree.
Jayashree, are
Okay.
you there?
Is she here?
She
Yes, sir.
should have been there. Yeah, she's there. Okay.
Yes.
Now this is her attempt. Fill the
Nice.
frame.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. This is better. Correct.
Yes. A rule of
Yeah.
odds.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Then leading lines.
Lines. Yeah. Yeah.
And then also this, she was considering leading lines so that
Uh,
the
yeah.
side lines leading to the
Yeah.
center.
Yeah.
rule of third.
Rule of third. Correct.
Of course, I think she just used imaginary grid.
Ha.
Yeah. This one also.
Nice.
Yeah.
You can
The
instantly see a difference in the way there's some strength to the images suddenly.
yes. So this was Jayashree, and then we have one more student,
Yes.
Divya.
Okay.
Divya, are you there? Divya may not be there. I don't know.
She isn't here, Anna.
Okay.
Nice.
Fill the frame. I think must be her dad. Use a frame within a frame.
That's
This.
Christmas celebrations at school.
Okay. Nice.
Then leading the lines.
No, we will have to explain to them a little better.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Now that you spend more than an hour with them, they'll do it better.
Yeah.
Rule of odds. She's just taken one picture. Symmetry. So that's it.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
the most interesting thing is they have made a beginning. I mean, they've started doing it.
Yes,
they started
yes,
understanding
yes.
it.
Correct.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And they started seeing it so early,
Yes.
That thanks to technology, we can interact now and talk about it. And you can also share images with me, and we can learn.
Absolutely. Yes. Sure. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So
Kalpana will give the vote of thanks.
Before that, I'd like to say, I don't need to say it. I'm sure tons of people have already said it. The work that you're doing is amazing. I mean, there is no words to express, my feeling, my gratitude. One. Second is the children. They've with all the challenges that they're facing, they're amazing. I mean, they've come up. I think they kudos to them, for standing up to the challenges. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, there are 10,000 excuses that you can have. You can find if you don't want to do something, and they did not. I mean, that's the most important thing. And and the result is very obvious. I mean, they have, that TED speech session was like. That's why I asked the website, and I saw that first video, and I said,
Yes.
This is amazing. So thank you very much. Really appreciate this opportunity to kind of talk to your children. They're amazing. They are full of life. I mean, that's the most important thing. So thank you very much, and all the very best to you. Practice, and more practice. All right. But uske pehle, before that, study, and more study.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now they will all be following you.
Your
handles, social handles. Yeah.
No, but no. I mean, I don't think most of them can have an Insta yet. But they can watch the videos on YouTube for sure. There are about 10 or 12 mobile phone videos on various topics.
I will show them. Yes.
Sure. Thank
you.
In fact, I have downloaded all your videos from YouTube.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Radhakrishna. Radhakrishna Anna on behalf of all the students.
Krishnan.
Krishnan.
The Kannadigas.
Radhakrishnan.
Radhakrishnan. Yes.
So the Kannadigas and the Telugu, it is Krishna. And Tamil and Kerala, it is
the Nan.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Radhakrishnan, for this wonderful opportunity. We're very grateful. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable 1.5 hours. We didn't realize the time passing by. And
thank you very much.
We're so grateful that you took time off to come here, be a part of this. You could have had so many other things to do, but you chose to be with us to make this special for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for it.
Pleasure was all mine.
Yeah, and we really enjoy, I love the idea of having a photography competition. Maybe once a month we'll send it to Bhaskarana and he can bombard you with it. You select, all right? And the children will be so honored to receive some kind of a certificate from you or a word of
Oh, yeah.
appreciation. from you.
Let me see what I can do for that. For
Please,
sure.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we have lots of teachers also who've logged in, the teachers who are in charge of the enrichment program. So it's been
All
a
right.
great learning experience for us.
They can
away from the
follow
class.
us. They can follow us.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure. They can.
they
You
can
can see my,
follow our
yeah.
Insta handle. Pixel Village has an Insta handle. Mine is C Radha, as in C Radha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Insta, and YouTube, of course, is Pixel Village. And the personal work that I've done, as in commercial, I'm a commercial photographer. I was.
Right.
So I've kind of not done anything other than commercial photography. I mean, other than teaching. Well, when I say teaching, I see a similar situation. So I learned photography because someone shared their understanding with me. I could not have afforded a professional school. So that gives me no right to hold on to that information and not share, you know. So hence I thought there are multiple reasons. I mean, it's ethical, it's moral, it's everything. So I thought I should do that. So I'm in a process of creating. We've created. Now I need to reach it to people because if my understanding is right, we have about 2 million photographers in the country, and majority needs education and they can't afford it. So I want to make photography education an affordable education and make quality education available. Technology these days has enabled all of us to kind of interact like this and learn. So that's what we're trying to do now.
Right. So thank you once again. Thank you. And thank you, Bhaskaran, for
Thank you. Thank you so
getting
much,
Mr. Radhakrishnan to be part of our Parikrma family.
Thank
you so much for this.
Happy to be.
Thank you so much. And thank
all
you.
All the very best, boys and girls.
Thank you.
All the best.
Can we do silent applause for Radhakrishnan Anna?
Kalpanaka.
Yes, Sadananda. I want you
Before
and
they leave.
Yeah, please.
Before they leave, can we take a snap, Akka?
Yeah. Can all of you come on video mode, please?
Yeah. And then Kalpana will send Radhakrishnan the recording of this.
The recording also. Yeah, we'll do.
Oh, sure. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, give your best smile.
1 second, Akka. Everyone, please be on your video mode. So we take one snap.
Syed, come online, Syed.
Yeah, Syed Talha, come on. And Tasmia, can you please stop moving and distracting everyone? Thank you.
Yes, smile. Again. One more. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much. And one line from our school song is, let challenges come, we'll face them with a smile.
Absolutely.
And now we can add, and we'll walk with Mr. Radhakrishnan till the last mile.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Thank you.
Thank you, children. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Y'all can log out.
I'll keep in touch, Radhakrishnan. I'll keep in touch.
Yeah. Yo, please. Okay. I'll send you my personal, that number that you're interacting is the